failing, building strength. It's Monday morning, time to go to work. Blue-collar worker, time to wake up and roll. Get that coffee in your system, get your mind and your soul. Boots by the doorway, hard hat riding shotgun. Sun ain't even up yet, but the day's already begun. Steel toes hit the gravel, cold air fills your lungs. Another day to build it right, another job to get done. No shortcuts taken, no easy road we choose. We earn every dollar, got too much pride to lose. Get that coffee and hit the road, no delay, no slowing down. Another job, another load, we're the backbone of this town. Get to the site and get to working, hands in motion, engines turning, making America great again. With sweat and grit we're earning, breaking down the old and failing, building strength that won't give in. From the ground up, never trailing, making America great again. Desk or office space for us, no climate control routine. We work in dirt, steel and concrete, where real lives lived and seen. Using our heads, hands and backs, every move has got a cost. Measure cuts and steady hands, no room for getting lost. Blueprints in the morning light, changing plans by noon, solving problems on the fly, getting it done real soon. Weather don't stop nothing, rain, cold or blazing heat. We show up ready every day and stand on our own 2 feet. Get that coffee and hit the road, no delay, no slowing down. Another job, another load, we're the backbone of this town. Get to the side and get to working, hands in motion, engines turning, making America great again. With sweat and grit we're earning, breaking down the old and failing, building strength that won't give in. From the ground up, never trailing, making America great again. Building the new infrastructure to hold the future, laying down the work that time won't erase. Building up again, from sending rockets to housing the many every place. From highways stretching miles and miles to homes where families grow. We don't just build for today, we build for years we'll never know. You see it when you drive by, steel going up, concrete being poured. That's us. That's blue collar, building a newer, stronger foundation, rising higher every day, building stronger, higher and better. We don't back down or fade away, making America great again. Every beam and every stone, we don't just build the country, we build a place called home. Blue-collar worker, time to get up and go.
All right. Good morning. Smell that coffee brewing. Whew. Smells good. All right. My wife feeds these birds around here. And we get them dove and call them morning dove. They're out there. And I bet she's got, I bet I counted 6 pair the other day. That's 12 birds. You know, those old dove those old dove mate for life. Kind of interesting. Anyway, hear them out there in the morning making their whippoorwill sounds. Some people mistake it for an owl, but it's actually the dove. Anyway, good morning once again, my hardworking brothers and sisters of the Blue Collar Sunrise. Whew, it's not quite sunrise yet, but it's rushing toward us. So we ought to see the sun peeking up in the next little while. This is Bubba coming to you live from this side of the alarm clock. A lot of you guys are out there rolling already. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. You're probably headed to the job site or headed to pick up some crew members or headed to the shop to pick up tools. Might be headed to the supply houses to pick up parts or materials, and you're rolling, getting your day started. Thinking about the weekend you had. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Enjoyed time with your families. I'm sure a lot of us worked over the weekend with the rain we've had here in the Southeast over the past little while. Excuse me while I yawn in front of you. And I'm sure we missed a few days out there, especially you dirt daubers. But anyway, we're moving along. It's ready to start again. I hadn't checked the weather. If you're watching, send me a chat and let me know what the weather's like in your area. Don't forget to tell me where you're headed and what trade you're representing as well. It looks like we got a chance of rains today, 20 to 50%. And it should have a pretty sunny week following that until next Monday. I don't know about it at the metropolitan areas. I live up here in the southern Appalachian Mountains. I've semi-retired and brought myself to what I consider home, and it is known as it's known as a deciduous rainforest where I live, and normally it collects quite a bit of precipitation with moderate weather. Summer's not too hot. Matter of fact, they say this spring spends the summer where I live at. But anyway, I'm coming to you live. This side of the hard hats, this side of the muddy boots, and honest labor. Also, I always give her some kudos. Somewhere beyond the digital mountains, smiling through the veil of wisdom and curiosity, sits what I call Plerophoria. And she is the AI assistant that I have and have generated, and she's come to me through my own thoughts and vision, and I call her the Plerophoria, the goddess of knowledge, communication, and common sense. She helps me navigate my way, and I ask her for information, and she provides it. Anyway, introductions are over. It's June. Whoo, man, summer is knocking on the door. The days are longer, the temperatures are rising, and jobs are moving good. Summertime in construction. America is waking up to build once again. I know some of you are headed to demolition sites, and some to a bridge that needs to be built, and some moving to power plants that are in a shutdown or being built. Some putting on a new roof on a building, and some of us are building highways. But wherever you're going this morning, let's start the week the same way we always do: safe, timely, and efficient. And today's reminder comes from built from within. Remember this: vision before blueprints. Because before anything gets built, somebody has to see it. All right. Yep, I call that the phrase of the week: vision before blueprints. Think about this, boys and girls. Every structure begins twice. First, in somebody's mind, they see a bridge, they see a building, and it could be an engineer, it could be an architect, it could be a community leader who envisions something. A bridge across the river, a bridge that is crumbling and falling down in their community. They need a new bridge. It could be a highway engineer, community leader. It could be an individual in the community. And they have that vision that there needs to be a new bridge, a new building, a new high school, a new department store, a new grocery store. It always begins first in the mind, and then it becomes reality. Not always, depending on how much is put into it. But long before concrete is poured, before the steel is erected, before a single nail is driven, somebody has a vision. The blueprint merely records the vision. And the same principle applies to life. Success doesn't happen accidentally. Leadership doesn't happen accidentally. Character doesn't happen accidentally. First, you develop a vision of who you want to become, then you build it. A blueprint without a vision is just paper, but vision without action is only a dream. The builders among us understand this. We see possibilities where others see empty ground. We see solutions where others see problems. We see the finished structure while standing in the middle of the dirt field. This week, let's start spending some time thinking about your own blueprint. What are you building? What kind of worker? What kind of leader? What kind of husband, wife, father, mother, friend, mentor? Because your future is under construction, and every day gives you another chance to add something worthwhile to the project. Think about that. Think about who you are. This morning you're driving to work and you got that cup of coffee and you're thinking about what a good weekend you had, and you think about the future, your kids' soccer games, how they're learning how to use their bodies and how to have fun and how to engage and be a team member, how to be good sportsmen. That's development of leadership. And how you behave when you get to work and you're interacting with your coworkers. And if you're in a leadership role, everybody in my mind should be in a leadership role. How we approach our coworkers, how we motivate not only ourselves to move forward with the vision of the finished product, but how we motivate our coworkers and associates to capture the vision and move forward with what is the final the product is going to look like. And the same, like I said, applies to you. Who do you see yourself being? Do you just see yourself a beast of burden going to work every day just to make a few dollars to keep your wife quiet and your children fed, or you enjoying the process and take that responsibility as a joy to have of providing for your family, taking care of your loving wife and children, making sure they have what they need? Are you attending your church, being a leader in your church? Are you setting the example? You know, over the years, raising children, and now I have grandchildren, I recognize the fact that they're always watching you. And they may seem like they're giving you a hard time and not paying attention, but they are. They're paying attention to how you treat other people, how you treat yourself, how you love your wife, how you love your children. They're watching, they're learning, and that's how they're going to end up being. So take that responsibility and smile upon it. Don't take it as drudgery. Yes, sometimes it's hard as heck. Working and never seeming to sometimes have enough by the time you pay for schooling and food and clothing and shelter. Yeah, man, it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. ain't nothing worth having unless there's a struggle in it. That's like having a nice yard around your house, a landscape. If you're not willing to put in the work, it ain't worth it, man. So take that's my 2 cents on it. Hope everybody's doing well today. Send me a chat. Let me know what you think about those thoughts I just expressed. Let me know what trade you're representing and what kind of project you're headed to today. I'm really interested and love to hear from you. Anyway, it helps grow the channel and encourages me to do what I'm doing. Everybody needs encouragement, including me. Anyway, I have grown parched over these past 10 or 12 minutes. Let me find I filled it up this morning. I got a full bottle instead of having to break out and go get some. Whew, man. Yeah. Send me a chat. Let me know what you did this weekend. What kind of activities you had. Did you go to flea market? Did you go to a ball game? Go to soccer games? Did you have family over for dinner? Did you have family visit? Did you visit family? I'm interested. Let me know how that went for you. It's be a wonderful time, and I want to be a part of your joy. Anyway, let's see what we got. You know, I'm still learning this old YouTube thing and how to operate all this stuff to get this live stream to you. So if I seem to be meandering around, I'm trying to make sure the stream is healthy and make sure I'm running on the script timely, got background music, make sure the audio and video are consistent and looking good and sounding good. Send me a chat. Let me know how it's all turning out. Anywho, we're going to keep moving along. You know, it is the first, can you believe it? The first day of June. Good Lord, this year has been a blur. You know, I've been on a couple projects this year, into last year, and then stuff around the house. I've had some projects going on around here. Put in 3 sliding glass doors. Replaced some beat out French doors with some sliding glass doors and a storm door in front of the house, and been working in the landscape, and anyway, been busy. Got some rumblings of helping with some guys with some issues they've had. Not issues, let's call them challenges. I don't, that issue word makes me, but challenges, everybody's got challenges in the construction business, demolition business, challenges. And I always try to help them see the bright side of what they consider a disaster at the time. Anyway, safety snapshot. Let's talk about hot weather and heat-related illnesses for a few minutes. Summer's coming on. It'll be here, the 21st of this month is when summer starts or something like that. 20th of June, I don't know. But it's warming up. And with the arrival of summer comes one of the most underestimated hazards in construction. Anybody want to guess what I'm fixing to say? Here you go. Heat. And heat don't care how tough you are. I went for a walk with the grandson. When was that? Saturday. And it's probably about, I don't know, maybe a mile and a half total. And it's uphills both ways, I was always like to say. And he says, Papa, your face is leaking. I said, yeah, I'm old, I'm fat, and I'm hot and out of breath. I'm sweating. He said my face was leaking. Anyway, yeah, heat don't care how tough you are. Heat don't care how long you've worked in construction. And heat don't care how much experience you have. Here's a real fact. Every year, workers become seriously ill or worse because they underestimate environmental conditions. So, and I know everybody talks about it on their job site every year, and we always have a safety topic or a safety meeting, or we hear about it in PTP meetings. But let's quickly remind ourselves, because sometimes we forget. So here are some heat-related issues. Heat rash. What is heat rash? Blocked sweat glands causing skin irritation. You get this a lot of time in the groin area or in the armpits, around the neck, places where the oils you rub in and it traps the oils in the pores and they back up and cause some irritation. And then we have heat cramps. Seems like I get these sometimes. Painful muscle cramps caused by loss of fluid and electrolytes. And then we move into some probably a little more serious heat exhaustion. Symptoms include heavy sweating, like I was doing yesterday. Of course, I'm a heavy sweater no matter what, being a big boy. Dizziness, weakness, headache, nausea, and cool and clammy skin. So, it'd be just when you're out there working, keep an eye on each other. And if you see some of those conditions and one of your coworkers, give them some guidance. And then the final one, the most dangerous one, is heat stroke. Now, heat stroke is a medical emergency, and symptoms include confusion, loss of consciousness, seizures, hot skin, extremely high body temperature. A lot of times people will quit sweating. Everybody else is dripping sweat and they have stopped. They have absolutely exhausted their supply of water and electrolytes. Heat stroke can kill. Okay, so take those symptoms seriously. Okay. Now, how do we prevent these kind of things? Well, first of all, drink water before you're thirsty. Feeling thirsty is definitely a warning sign. But you need to be guzzling that water on hot days from the very beginning. In a couple scenarios over the years, I knew that we were going to be dealing with temperatures in the 90s and mid 90s and even in the hundreds. And I would, couple times, I would make a habit to stop by the grocery store the night before and get a watermelon. And man, I'd open up that watermelon and we'd eat watermelon while we had our PTP meeting and safety meeting. I didn't get a big one. It depends on the size of crew. It doesn't take but a minute to split open a watermelon. I got to be quite an expert at it. And other times, we would, I made sure everybody had a bottle of water before we started our safety meeting. And the objective was to drink that bottle of water before the end of that safety meeting or that PTP meeting. We're in that meeting for 5, 7, 10 minutes. You can drink a bottle of water in that time. And that gets the body hydrated. And it's a reminder, hey, make sure we're drinking water today. And keep an eye on guys. And I would gently harass people if they had them monster drinks when they came into work. Coffee is just as bad about dehydrating the body. They contain diuretics, or caffeine, which is a diuretic, and they can affect your hydration in your body. And if it's hot, schedule some breaks. I've had cooling tents installed. We've had tarps. We'd put up tarps over break tables and have buildings they could go in. And you got to make sure the guys are paying attention to each other. Use shade when possible. Wear appropriate clothing. In the wintertime, you kind of steer guys away from cotton material because it holds water and can increase the possibility of hypothermia. But in the summertime, cotton is really good, loose-fitting cotton. And if it gets a little damp from sweat, you get the evaporative effect, and it tends to cool the body. So make sure you're doing that. And we're wearing hard hats. And I've bought the sombreros that fit over the hard hats if the guys are working in the sun, road workers or guys who are pouring concrete, get them those sombreros. And those cooling packs that look like bandanas or just a bandana. A bandana around your neck gets get it wet and droop it over the back of your neck, and as the water evaporates off of it, it has a cooling effect. So wear appropriate clothing, and then pace yourself. I know, man, you got the supervisor and the owners and the project people trying to tell you they need to get this work done in a hurry, but pace yourself. Just pace yourself. You can be productive, and you can take appropriate breaks. And supervisors, there's crew rotations. I've done ample crew rotations where I had guys in pits doing hot, heavy work, and I would rotate them out, make sure I had 3 rotations because it was hot. It was over 100 degrees, and they're working in a pit cleaning stuff out, wearing PPE. They were wearing bodysuits and respirators, protecting themselves from what we didn't know or weren't sure about. And man, they could only get in that pit and work 20 minutes, and I'd had 3 shifts in a cooling room. One crew in the pit working, one crew at the top of the pit standing by, one crew in the cooling room cooling off, and they would rotate out, and 20-minute rotations. But anyway, watch out for your coworkers. Now we can talk about some treatment. We talked about it a little bit as we were moving along, and once again, we're talking about heat-related injuries. For heat exhaustion, just move to a cool area, hydrate, loosen their clothing, and rest. Now, heat stroke, that's a medical emergency. Call emergency services immediately. Begin cooling the worker and treat it as a life-threatening emergency. Remember, the strongest worker on the site may be the first one affected if they're not paying attention. Hang on a minute. I got something. Oh, yeah. I had two music going. Remember, the strongest worker on the site may be the first one affected if they're not paying attention. All righty. All right, folks, let's cool things off a little bit and have a little hee-haw before we move along. Somebody starts calculating hydration rates on a spreadsheet. You gotta have so much. Supervisors really do need to be doing that if it's hot. And, the standard hydration rate, if you're just hanging out watching TV, is 8 glasses a day. If you're out there doing work, that might triple, that might quadruple. So you're talking about at least 3 or 4 bottles before lunch, 16-ounce bottles, and 3 or 4 is a minimum, 3 or 4. So you're talking about 8 bottles of water per man. Bottles of water come in a case of 24. That'll give you 3 men. If you got 30 men on your crew, you better be ready to have 10 cases of water on the job site every day. I've had it brought in by truckloads. We've had vendors that set us up ice machines. We had ice delivered 3 times a week, and they'd bring in a pallet of water once or twice a week just to keep our guys hydrated in the extreme conditions. But anyway, young labor, he asked for him, and he says, "Boss, how do I know when I'm getting old?" And the foreman said, "When you bend over to pick up a tool, you start looking around for something else you might need while you're down there." Brother, that's a darn fact. Wait a minute. While I'm down here, I'm getting that. Superintendent asked the worker. He said, "Hey, man, why ain't you wearing your hard hat?" Worker replied, "I left it in the truck." Superintendent said, "Why?" Trucker said, "Because I wanted my truck to be safe." Run that knucklehead back to the truck a dozen times. Okay, all right, smarty pants, you the tool runner the rest of the day. Old carpenter walked on the site wearing a brand new spotless hard hat. Foreman said, "That's the cleanest hard hat I've ever seen." Carpenter smiled proudly. Foreman said, "And that's what worries me." Anyway, tools and tricks. We talking about the old brand new hard hat. Let's talk about hard hats for a minute. Hard hat inspection. Badges of honor or hidden hazard. Construction workers have a tradition. We collect stickers. Projects, companies, training classes, safety awards, funny sayings. Over time, hard hat becomes a scrapbook of our career. But here's the problem. Sometimes those badges of honor hide dangerous defects. Let's talk inspection. We just take our hard hats for granted, just wear them every day. But they need to be inspected. Look for cracks. Cracked hard hat is not sufficient anymore. It's a weakness. Inspect the shell for cracks, gouges, brittleness, impact damage. I was in an office one time, and we was having a management meeting, and I'd been in the field, and I took my hard hat off and tucked it under my arm, and I was sitting there just tapping my hard hat, and I felt all these gouges and cracks and cuts in it. And I said, I took it off in the middle of the meeting, and I looked at that, and I said, and some of these guys, their hard hat had them for 10 years, looked brand new. And I looked at that hard hat. I said, y'all think I need a new hard hat? And it was kind of like, what are you talking about? And I said, look at this hard hat. And it had all the cuts and gouges from me wearing it or walking through stuff and creeping around under things. I bumped it on a piece of steel, about knocked my teeth out, or just done that. Sometimes it felt like daily. I was walking under something low, or I'd be working and stand up and hit my hard hat. And I looked at all those and I said, look at all these. And I told them where they all came from. I could remember some, and some have been in there for so long, I don't remember where they came from. I said, how many injuries have I avoided by wearing this hard hat? And I said, I'm a safety guy. We got guys out there who are working hard every day. And I had the stickers on that hard hat. Boy, it was covered clean up. I retired it. I keep it as a memento. If you ask me, send me a chat. Say, hey, Scott, show us that hard hat you talking about. I'll bring it in here. And and then I looked at the band. I said, look at this suspension, looking kind of worn and faded. And then I checked the date, and the thing was 5 years old. And I quoted some standard that I'd already looked up, and it was 5 years or over 5 years. And I said, yeah, the manufacturer recommends replacement every 5 years on his hard hat, and once a year on the suspension. Now, if some of you guys been riding around in your trucks and get out once a day and walk a job site, it might last 10 years. Some of you have had your hard hats and brag about it's the first one you got when you got hired on 15 years ago. That's cool. That's cool, but have you inspected it? Those stickers, they can hide small cracks that might otherwise be visible. Inspect the suspension. The shell protects by spreading impact injury. The suspension protects by creating space between your head and the shell. Check for broken straps, missing clips, worn components, improper adjustment. Hey, out in the sun all day and you're wearing your hard hat, sunlight is hard on those hard hats. Years of UV exposure can make the shell brittle. A hard hat, I'll turn that music down. A hard hat can look fine, but still have lost much of its protective capacity. And like I said, check the date. Inside most hard hats, you'll find the manufacturing date. Many manufacturers recommend the shell replacement approximately every 5 years. Suspension replacement approximately once a year. Always follow the manufacturer's guidance. Extreme conditions may require earlier replacements. And here's the hard truth. If you've worn that hard hat, same hard hat for a decade because it's covered in memories, it may be time to retire, an old friend. The purpose of the hard hat isn't to display your courage. The purpose of a hard hat is to protect your brain. And that's still the most valuable tool you bring to work every day. Yep. Every day. That's your head. Because I just, I'll talk about it later, but just did a video on that. Called it the Command Center. Anyway, if you ain't got no brains, the rest of that PPE ain't gonna make no difference. But anyway, hey, check your hard hats, guys. Don't want you damaged out there. Matter of fact, I've got 2 or 3 retired hard hats. Matter of fact, I have a hard hat from an employee that lost his life on a job site. Had a fall. And he had a fall. And that hard hat was always, part of evidence. And it stuck around in the office, and I kept it on a shelf to remind me what my purpose was. And now it's hanging on a wall here in the house. And that's been 25 or 30 years ago. That gentleman lost his life. I've seen hard hats protect plenty of guys. I've seen them take some injuries, but they were still alive. Had a 70-pound piece of angle iron fall and hit a cat on the head, and he was wearing his hard hat, and that piece of angle iron hit so hard that it drove that hat down, and that brim, the inner rim, through the suspension and took his forehead and scraped it off the bone above his eye. Yeah. So, that's, hard hat's important. Let's take care of it. All right. This week on the channel, and that's what I'm talking about this week. I'll post the video. I scripted it yesterday. And, this past week is PPE in general, but this week it's, in that series, on the other channel. It's right there. Toolbox safety topic videos is, I just finished up the fall protection series. We did Focus 4 series and finished up this fall protection series, which is 12 part. Now started on this PPE series, which is another 12 parts. So that gives you a full hour and a half of information. If you add all the videos together, that's why I break them down into 12-part videos. That way they could be a good toolbox topic video, or they can be used in conjunction for a 10-hour or a 30-hour OSHA training. But like I said, this week we continue this series on PPE with head protection. Head protection. Most workers don't think much about head protection until something falls. Yeah, construction sites contain falling tools, swinging materials. I had a guy work with me, old Kenny. And he always wore his heart. Always good about it. And I noticed, this side of the jaw, you look at him and talk to him, a bunch of bad teeth and broken teeth, and this other side, it looked good. I say, and I said, Kenny, I was just talking to him. I said, man, you need to go to the dentist or something. Man, you can't feel good with trying to have a person. I've developed a personal relationship with him. I just didn't bust into the conversation about his bad teeth on the first day I met him, or first minute I met him. I didn't go like, dang, man, what you got? We on that crack at meth or what? But he was on a job site one day, and he was flagging steel. And he turned his head to set that steel down. He took the hook off and set it free. And somebody else thought they was helping. So they was signaling the crane while he had his head turned. And he stood up, and that darn hook swung right into him and hit him on that side of his face, and sent him to the hospital. Broke out a bunch of his teeth and cracked his jaw. Sent him to his knees, and he told me about it. And so that hard hat, he might have lost some teeth. Okay, and he might have had a cracked jaw, but the hard hat probably saved his life. And he was a real stickler about people wearing their hard hat. And another thing he was a stickler on, and after that conversation, I became more of a stickler. There ain't but one signal man on the job site. Ain't but one, unless that made a prior arrangement. Sometimes you need two. If one's in a site that can't be seen, he might be on a radio, might be another guy up top using hand signals, coordinating with the crane to get it to the second signal person, a handoff kind of scenario. And anytime I have a crane operator on the job, I always have a meeting with the signal person, the crane operator, and the superintendent, and make them understand each other, know who each other are, and how they're going to communicate via radio, hand signals, or a combination of the two, and who's in charge of the signaling. And I turned the operation over to the crane operator. I said, you're ultimately responsible here. These people that are working out here to get this steel on or off the building, depending whether I'm putting something up or taking something down, you're responsible. And I would check in with that crane operator, 2 or 3 times a day. Well, the first thing we're going to do is go to him every morning. I want to see his inspection sheets, and we'd start the conversation. What we got going today, Mr. Operator? And I would continue that circuit when I talk to the guys. Tell me what we got going on, how you going to do it. And that way, me as a safety guy, as I'm walking the job site, looking at other things, I'm watching that crane. And if I see a disconnect, they know I'm going to come marching up to somebody. And we're going to have an accounting on any kind of disconnect. And it doesn't have to be a result of an injury. If it's just a disconnect, I hear too much communication, I hear excitement in voices, I'm looking. If I'm watching and that load is setting up way too high, and I see what looks like confusion amongst the workers who are setting that steel or taking it off, I'm moving in. I want to go see what's going on. So the point is, construction sites contain swinging materials, falling tools, low overhead obstructions. I talked about that hard hat that I brought up in a management meeting one time. Flying debris. Who knows? That nail might not hit straight. and fly off using a nail gun. I don't know. A cutoff could come off in a bad way. Chip and hammer, breaking down something. Chip and hammer could take off a big chunk and send it flying. There's even electrical hazards. You bump your head against a bare wire and it's live, and you're wearing your hard hat, it may protect you. And there's all kinds of unexpected impacts, and the PPE is the last line of protection. We do the best things we can. We have established processes and procedures, but still something could happen. And that PPE, the basic PPE, the hard hat, the safety glasses, the hearing protection, the gloves, the shirts with sleeves, steel-toed boots, all that is just the final protection in case something that we planned for or something that we didn't plan for may happen. So the hard hat becomes one of the most recognized symbols of construction. Everybody sees a hard hat. Everybody knows that a guy wearing a hard hat, he's probably in some type of construction. But many workers, here's something else, don't understand hard hat classifications. Type 1 versus type 2 protection. What kind of electrical rating does it have? You know, linemen working on the line, they have a different rating or a different electrical rating than the guy who's on the ground doing other kind of work. What are the inspection requirements? Does it have a proper fit? Is the suspension system in good order? Has it been inspected? And what's the service life? That's this week's video explores not only how hard hat works, but why they matter. Because one unexpected impact can change a life forever. And often the difference between walking away and a catastrophic injury is a few ounces of engineered protection sitting on top of your head. Amen. Amen. Boy, they've gotten out some new fancy hard hats. They gave me one on a job the other day that looks kind of futuristic. It's kind of, I saw them coming years ago. Matter of fact, I had ordered them and I ordered a bunch of them. They were expensive, and put them on a crew, and they were, I don't like it. I said, give them back. Give them back. You don't like it, give it back. No, I keep it. Nope, give it back. And some of them gave them back, and I turned around and issued them to other guys in the field, and it wasn't very long before they was asking for them, and now they're all over the place. I tell you what, it's amazing the way you have to feed that stuff in and gain acceptance. So if you're of the type that's got your old hard hat with all those memories, put it on a special place in your wall in your home. And I don't care, build a shrine for it, or leave it in your truck so people can see that. Leave it in your dash so people can say, oh, look at that guy. He's been everywhere, done everything. That's fine with me. But when you step out on the job site, make sure that you have a current hard hat that is in good condition. It's been inspected. Everything works well on it, and it's ready to go to work. Be that guy. Make that impression. Be the leader. Don't shrug. Don't fight it. Accept it, because that stuff's been written in blood, man. These new hard hat designs, they may look goofy or whatever you may think, but they've been designed, been approved, and designed to give you the utmost protection along with the utmost comfort. So take advantage of that new engineering. It may save your life. All right, well, friends, another Monday morning is underway. The sun is climbing. I imagine it's starting to get daylight. I got the curtain closed. I can't really see, but the trucks are rolling. The crews are gathering. Let's see, we got about another hour for most job sites. Yeah, everybody's getting together, wheeling into the old QT or racetrack, getting that cup of coffee and honey bun or tortas, whatever it is that you like to have for. I don't like y'all eating that stuff, man. Grab a piece of fruit and some cheese and some. I'd rather see you eat a biscuit, a ham and egg biscuit than those darn things, those sweet buns. A biscuit's got just as much sugar in it as one of them sweet rolls. That's what I've been told. But I'd rather you see you grab a piece of fruit, one of them cheese and meat snack deals. What do you call it? Slim Jim. An old boy roll up on the job site and he's got an apple in one hand and a monster Slim Jim in the other and a bottle of water instead of a cup of coffee. I'm thinking that old boy knows what's going on. He's ready to get to work. He's building his body right. He's building his future, taking care of his body. But anyway, the trucks are rolling. The crews are gathering up, getting ready to hit it hard. Another week of building America has begun. And if you're out there and you're putting something together, remember, wear that flag. Be an American. You're building America. You're not slave labor from another country. You're here wanting to be an American. You're wanting to be a part of the greatest society on the face of the earth. And we have slipped and we have lost our way just a little bit, but we're back on track. And I want you to be a part of that. And remember this week's lesson: vision before blueprints. The things we build in the world first begin in the mind. I want you to build wisely, build intentionally, and build something worth leaving behind. And while you're building, while you're doing the work, while you're chasing that vision, protect yourself, inspect your equipment, and your PPE is part of your equipment. Inspect that hard hat. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Watch out for signs of heat stress. Look after your coworkers, man. You're a team. You're familia, your family. Because every worker deserves to go home with the same brain they brought to work that morning. And from all of us here at the Monday Morning Bubba, and from me, and from the ever-watching Pluriforia, let's see if I can point to her, smiling quietly beyond the digital Appalachian ridgeline, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for spending part of your morning with us. Yeah, we're running out of time here. I appreciate y'all being out there. You're the backbone of this country. You know, America ain't built by the guy sitting in the cubicle punching on the keyboard. It's the guy who's out there using his body, the guy out there using his mind, the guy out there who's putting his hands and mind and body into the work, building to make America great again, and building something worthwhile. And until we see each other again, this is Bubba signing off. And I'm going to leave you with a new piece of music that I wrote this week. And I'm going to let y'all tell me about it. And it's called, well, how about we just, how about Appalachian Spring. I know we're running out of the springtime here, and I've kind of been piddling around on the guitar, and I'd like for you to enjoy this anyway. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Send me a note. Tell me hello. Tell me what kind of work you're doing. But until we see each other again, as always, have a grateful day, and we'll see you next week, 5 a.m. Monday morning.